Donald Rutherford, who is, or technically Monsignor Donald Rutherford, who is our vicar for clergy for the diocese. So take it away if you guys have questions you want to ask.
Well, today is a day unlike any other in American history, or the much longer history of the Roman Catholic Church, with a pope that was born in America. And I think that's an amazing thing and a reason for great pride for our local church and our American church, but also he's a pope that belongs to the world, has worked throughout the world, and I think is a day of rejoicing for everyone. And I think there's no greater sign of unity in our church than the pope. And he already has expressed his desire to be a person who brings people together through dialogue, through a missionary spirit that's very reflective of Pope Francis, and I'm very excited.
I think it's a great idea also. First, he's an American. Second of all, that he's an Augustinian, so he's in an order. He understands community, understands the people. Took the name of Leo. The last Leo was the Pope until 1903, and if you Google Leo the 13th, you find out that he was an individual who kind of opened the windows of the church and allowed the light to come in and allowed people to participate more. So I think it's a great thing. He's a man who, yes, he's an American, but he was also bishop in Peru. And so he speaks fluent Spanish, which would be great for our Spanish community, our Hispanic communities within the country and within the world. He is young. He's 69, which is a great age, same age I am right now. And I think he has a lot to do, a lot to say for all of us. If you noticed when he was on the balcony, he looked like a very, very humble man. Looked like he was gonna break out in tears with what was going on. And I'm sure he's a man who is truly influenced by the Holy Spirit. They asked last week, who do you think it's going to be? And Cardinal Dolan said he's already been chosen. The Spirit just has to tell all of us who it's going to be. And I think that's exactly what we have done. We've got a young, vibrant man who is forward-looking, and I think it couldn't be a better day for the American Church or for the Universal Church.
And Bishop Sharpenberg, I know, shares our excitement. He's away on a mission right now, but I know he shares our excitement and looking forward to working closely with Pope Leo XIV. That's kind of fun to say.
I think we're all possibly wondering if Pope Leo XIV, before he was Pope, ever passed through this area. Did he ever speak at Siena or speak at Paris?
He's a Chicago boy. I don't think he ever got this far east. But he's an Augustinian, and up until a short time ago, we had Augustinians right in the diocese. And he's trained in Villanova, not terribly far away from here. So he certainly understands the United States. He understands the world. Having been, the last job that he had was the head of the dicastery for bishops. So he assigned all the bishops within the world. And he worked very, very closely with Pope Francis. So I think he has a very forward-looking man who has the hope and the future of the church in his hands.
What type of impact do you think having an American as a pope will have on all of us?
You know, I went to Buenos Aires a couple of years ago, and you could tell there was a little difference. And churches had been a little fuller. I asked around, and they said that it had been fuller. I hope something like that happens. It doesn't really matter he's American to the whole church, I hope, but most importantly for us, it's somebody's going to know our situation, know our story, feel our things, understand baseball, things that haven't happened before. So I think it's going to be very exciting for a lot of people to know that he's really one of us, but he belongs to everyone.
Exactly.
What do you hope they'll prioritize first in terms of like issues?
I couldn't hear. I'm sorry, ma'am.
What do you hope the first American pope will prioritize?
I think he prioritized God's people. That's the most important thing to do. And to realize that we're all Christians, we all work together. And yes, he is the Pope for the Universal Catholic Church, but take care of everyone that is out there. And I think in the footsteps of Francis that he will do exactly that.
He talked about us having a missionary spirit in the church, of being disciples, of being followers of Christ. That's to the root of who we are. You know, if you get that right, other issues are incredibly important, but if you get that right, the other issues tend to take care of themselves. So I think he's going to be a wonderful leader for that.
It seems like you guys have a lot of positive thoughts on him, but for those who might be nervous, who
Sure.
might not think the same way, what would you just say to the Catholic community who might feel uncertain?
Open your heart and your minds to what he has to say to all of us. And I think that's what we have to. We have to be open to whoever it may be. I think the first time that John Paul II walked out on the podium long, long time ago, people were wondering, he's coming from a communist bloc country at the time. And look at the great things he did. When the Argentinian Francis walked out, and looked very different from the other popes. He came out truly as a very humble man. I think we're looking at a very humble man today, too. I think open your heart and your minds to what this man can do for all of us, for the universal church, and for the world.
The challenges are huge. It's an impossible job, right? So I think every pope recognizes that they need to be prayed for, just to somehow amass the courage and the faith in order to do this impossible job well. And so I know he's going to be looking for prayers for every single person, not just Catholics, but from every person of faith.
I think we all have to remember, I think, at Mass, we always prayed for Francis, our Pope. I've got to remember to put in Leo tomorrow morning as I say Mass. Yesterday I slipped because we just kind of do it by rote. I prayed for Francis. And I remember this morning I prayed for the College of Cardinals. Well, now tomorrow morning I'll make sure I put in Leo. So it's a very, very exciting day for all of us, I think.
The church has played an important role in mediating conflicts around the world and freeing hostages and doing all this important and very political work in some cases that results in real change in countries and for people. Does having an American pope, a pope from the last superpower on earth, complicate that effort? And is the church still going to be able to be a broker in the same way that it was when it had popes from different countries?
I think that was always the argument against an American pope. But remember, this is a person who's been in Latin America and been a bishop for 14 years and has been in Rome, who has a worldwide perspective. I think that his first words from the balcony was peace. And he made that very much the center of what he hopes to accomplish in his papacy. I don't think anybody thinks he's going to tilt the playing field in any way as an American. I think he's an American who wants peace for the world.
Absolutely. I think that's what we have to look at, that he's a man who's working not just for the Church of Rome, after he's the Bishop of Rome, but he works for the Universal Church. And as his predecessors, he is going to work each day for peace between all peoples.
All right.
Do you think he's going to pray for the Chicago Cubs to win another World Series?
We do not know if he's we do not know if he's a Bears fan or a Cubs fan. However, Amy Borzo Andrews, who's our vice chancellor, said he was just disappointed he didn't go out there and didn't say the Bears.
As far as your guys' reaction when you first saw that it was an American, going to be the first American pope, I mean, what were you guys feeling? What was that?
We were together.
We were sitting next to each other. I mean, absolute shock almost. He was
Yeah.
one of the ones who was considered, but we always thought it was going to, I thought it was going to be an Italian. I always thought, because there hasn't been an Italian since 1978. So, and he is the Bishop of Rome, and to have an American, the Bishop of Rome, that's amazing. That really is. I was just in Rome last week, and the crowd there was not considering Cardinal Prevost to be the next Bishop of Rome, and it happened. And truly, the Holy Spirit spoke. He is the right man for the right time, for the right people. I think it's a wonderful thing.
I think I can give a reaction. We were like excited and surprised, and then a feeling of blessing and a little bit of pride, but hope for the church, and not just for our American church, but for the whole world.
I couldn't believe when somebody stood up and they said, I got a text before he walked out of the podium. I don't know how it happened. And he said, it's an American. I said, yeah, right, sure. Like that. So, and when he walked out, and when they announced that, when they got up and they announced that they in Latin, all I could make out was Robert Prevost. And I said, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And there he was, wearing the vest and in the cassock with the zucchetta. It was absolutely amazing. It's truly history. And we were there to watch history. It's a great, great thing.
And why were you so surprised that it was an American?
Why wasn't I surprised? I've been an American before. And I think I didn't expect an American to be named because there were so many Italians and so many from other countries. Pope Francis, he made many, many cardinals. I don't know the exact number, but Prevost was one of them. And I was surprised that he has not been in America for quite some time. He's been in Rome and he's been in Peru. And to choose a man who is not from really not living in his native country, it's really kind of surprising.
I think I was surprised because I didn't think I'd ever see that in my lifetime. But I think it says something about the man. If he was known as a person who would favor one country over another, if his if his background was going to make him more one way or the other, they would never come near him as a candidate. Think about what he had to, the kind of person he had to be to have them overcome that possible fear of coming from a superpower, to say, no, this is the most fair, this is the most just, this is the right guy. That says really a lot about him.
Have either of you ever actually met him or encountered him in person?
I have not, no.
No.
I'd like to someday.
I have one friend who I know knew him, and he said he's a wonderful guy, so he's probably getting a lot of texts right now. Well, we'll let you know when he comes to Albany.
You never can tell.
Everybody good?
Thank you, everybody, for coming and showing your interest and sharing this great moment with us.